Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to listeners and viewers of ZIZ and radio listeners around the island. I have to remove my mask because my glasses do not remain. So thank you for having us once again. Today, I'm here because Mr. Samuel has been working very hard with his COVID-19 task force and along with the compliance task force that has been put in place to regulate the businesses that have reopened when we reopened doors on the 20th of March. So today I'm here to speak on some business tips that we at the Chamber feel can assist businesses, small, micro businesses, medium businesses, in how they function in this new normal. So I'd like to thank Mr. Samuel for inviting us here once again. And just to also advise the general public that the collaboration between the Chamber and the COVID-19 Task Force and the Disaster Mitigation Committee has been going on for some time. And the Chamber, in fact, is a member of the Mitigation Committee. And the consultations that take place between the Chamber and the Chairman of the Task Force, Mr. Samuel, is a regular and ongoing basis. This is done to ensure that decisions that are taken involves representation of the stakeholders in the business community and on the island, and in this case, the private sector in general. For the information of many people who have been asking me recently who don't know much about the Chamber unless they're a member. And so I felt it was important that I give a bit of a very short, before I get into my presentation, about navigating your way through business today. The Chamber is quite broad, and it represents quite a wide cross-section of the business community in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a Nevis division. It includes small, medium, and large businesses, which includes professional services, construction persons, legal, accountants. Our membership has a manufacturing sector under its umbrella, we've been working with, along with the task force, on how the manufacturing sector was able to reopen with very strict guidelines and protocols in place. So they are represented under the Chamber's umbrella also. We have retailers, supermarkets, distribution channels, shipping, finance, tourism, all sectors. Just for those who've been asking me personally, yes, the Chamber is quite broad. We have over 125 active members. And when I say active means, I suppose that means the membership dues have been paid. We welcome more members as we go along. We are very open to our membership. That's what keeps the Chamber's operations ongoing day to day. The primary role of the Chamber is to influence the policy and regulatory environment so that it's conducive to business growth, development, and job creation. This representational function is executed through lobbying and advocacy. It is also an advisory and negotiation function as it involves dealing with government, key stakeholders, and civil society. A number of factors contribute to the central role of the Chamber within the national context. Being the voice of a business on a wide range of economic and social issues, holding a wealth of information from the perspective of business, and being a membership organization trusted by its members. And lastly, being a recognized social partner at various levels and various purposes. So that's just to give you a little background on our Chamber. But today I'm here to present to you tips, I would call, on how we can work together to navigate our new environment. And I think for new businesses, for micro businesses, and for small businesses in particular, this is a great challenge. And we feel it's important that we give you a bit of a few tips, maybe some guidelines on what we think you can do to survive or to ride this difficult period out, and to also reinvent yourself in some areas and some ways. And we felt we'd like to share this with you. Now, it's going to be uploaded to our website also, but also to speak to you on following necessary guidelines and protocols that we are asking you to employ in your business on a day-to-day basis. And as a chamber, we expect our members to comply. We know many of them have been, but we want you to do even better. For those who are non-members and members of the chamber, tomorrow we need you to enforce even further these protocols and guidelines before we open business. Well, here's some tips on how you can restructure your business or your workforce, your workplace, as we go through this time, this challenging time. And it's going to continue for quite some time. We don't know the length of time, but here are some tips for you. If you have a micro, a small business, medium business, and you don't have all the necessary human resource capacity to function daily, these are some ways that we can help you. So consider restructuring of your workplace and your workforce. Consider adjusting your workforce in the form of maybe staggered hours, a shift system, or working from home to limit your physical contact. Reduce your opening hours to accommodate decline in economic activity. Well, at this point in time, as I speak, we have been reducing our hours because we're we're gradually moving back into a full day's work. So many of us have done that and are doing that. Enforce social and physical distancing guidelines in work settings, as stated in the Regulation 7 under the emergency powers. This is very important, and I pause here because we have to work with the authorities, and it's very clear. And I want to say to businesses who have not yet complied, because I understand there are quite a few, it's not an expensive venture for you to get into enforcing the protocols and the guidelines enforced by the regulations. It's quite simple. You need duct tape, you need masking tape, you need to make sure everyone who steps into your business has a mask on. If they do not, you ask them to leave. If you have some masks available and you would like to give your customer one, I'm sure they will welcome it. You also need to make sure you measure your 6 feet. If you're not sure, you use a measuring tape. These are not very difficult guidelines for you to enforce. It literally would take you no more than an hour or two in the morning to put these in place. For sanitization, if you're a micro business, small business, and you really honestly cannot afford the cost of buying, the Purell or the hand sanitizer retail, what you do is you buy bulk alcohol, much cheaper, and you can get a spray bottle and you put some water, you add your water to it, and you not water it down, but you have to keep it at a certain consistency, and you make sure that you have some level of sanitization at your front entrance, whether you're a hairdresser, barber shop, retail, whatever. So I'm asking on behalf of the chamber, on behalf of Mr. Samuel, on behalf of the task force, please, these are easy. These are not expensive. These are not difficult guidelines to follow, but they are critical guidelines. They are critical to the health and safety of you, your client, your employees, and the family that you go home to every day. So from tomorrow, I understand that audits have been done for the last 2 weeks. Some businesses have done very well and have been complying from day one, but we have to work better for this week coming up and following weeks, that these enforcements are going to go into place and you are going to be fined in some instances, or your business might even be closed if you have not complied. We're going into week 3. I don't think there's any excuse. I don't think anyone business can say, I did not understand. This is on the news. It is on every media house. We hear it time and time again, over and over again. So whether you're a chamber member or not, you need to comply. And if you get fined or closed, the chamber is not the place to come to complain, because you should have complied. You've had enough time for this. Okay, so we are imploring on you to please, if you're not ready tomorrow morning, remain closed until you are ready. And when you're ready, then you open your business and you start functioning. Okay, the next slide. We talk about, so I can get into the regulations, but I believe everyone has those, and I think we've covered those about washing your hands and making sure you have a station available for your staff, the mask, sanitization, okay? Reducing unnecessary operational expenses within your business at this time. Evaluating your current business expenses and reviewing ways to reduce those expenses. Identifying which expenses are really essential to your day-to-day operation and temporarily suspending or terminating some of them. You will have to look within your business and determine what do you have to function with and what do you not need to function with. Reduce your usage of utilities, electricity and water to save on costs. Now, water might not be so, you may not be able to save today on water because everybody needs water at this time, but we mean no waste. When we say that, we mean do not waste, do not keep pipes running unnecessarily, and that type of area. Watering of your gardens unnecessarily. Engage employees in other tasks that are usually outsourced. If you have a staff member or employee who you feel is a good multitasker, willing and able, train them in some other areas. Everyone wants to earn a little extra these days. If there's something that you feel that they're quite capable of, tap into those resources that you already have. Managing your finances. Evaluate your fixed expenses. Consider which you can reduce without affecting the quality of your business. So it depends on what you're delivering, what you can reduce on. Not every business functions the same services. So what one might be able to cut back on, the other business may not be able to because it depends on what service they're providing. Efficiency at this time is key. Assess efficiency and productivity levels. Are you really maximizing the use of your time wisely? And I say this because we have a lot of downtime right now because we have our lockdown days. That time, to be honest, during those lockdown days, if you're a business owner or manager, supervisor, you should use some of that time. Yes, obviously we want you to rest, but use that time to re-evaluate your business and think about what can I be doing differently? And I know it's depressing and I know, you get down about how you're going to pull through this, but you have to be positive and you have to think outside the box. So using your time efficiently is critical for you to be able to get back into the game when it is ready again. And it will come back. We don't have a date yet, but it will. Optimize. Consider where and how to trim the fat. Ensure you have a well-thought-through business plan. And if you don't know how to prepare one because you're a micro business or small business, get advice. I'm sure you have a friend who is pretty good at that, a family member, a colleague. Get advice from credible sources who will do it for you, maybe, I'm hoping, for free, and not charge you at this time when your business is already struggling, but assist you to put a plan together on how you are going to move forward. Leveraging technology. Consider the option of setting up your business to accommodate employees working from home. Again, this depends on the type of business model you have and if that can actually work. Okay, if you're in retail like some of us, that does not work. But obviously, if you're an accountant or legal advisor or you have insurance, there many people can work from home. Conduct video conferencing using various online platforms like Zoom and Skype. Spend your time at home being productive. Reading, researching, reassessing your situation, your business. Even if you're not a business owner, supervisor, or manager, and you've just been working from home because you've been placed there in the interim, use that time while you're still employed to become more familiar with areas of the business in which you're employed into, and maybe making yourself basically indispensable to your employer so that they will think, wow, she's learning X and Y and showing interest. These are the people who are going to stay in their jobs and who employers are going to look at as very valuable. Assess your business model. Maybe your business can offer its products online platforms, being creative. It's time to think outside of the box. We already have a lot of that happening. We have the supermarkets that are doing a lot of curbside pickup, delivery, online delivery services. And this is obviously generating income and business for the some young entrepreneurs who are out there offering delivery services. So this is all really good. So I thought I'd lighten things up a little bit with this slide. So tips on working from home. So this slide shows your Zoom meeting. So you set up a workspace. When you work from home, it's very easy to get into being, I guess, a bit lax, right? So you have to be careful. You should set up a proper area that you're going to work at from home. A little desk, a comfortable chair, a space that's your workspace, so that you'll be more productive, more aware, more at work. You know, you're not lying down in bed trying to work on your laptop. You need to set some timelines so that you could have a daily schedule as to what you want to accomplish that day, or what your boss or your supervisor, manager has said they want you to accomplish today. Now, it doesn't matter maybe what time you do that, but make sure by the end of the day that you have delivered back to your offices what the expectation was of you to accomplish in that day. And if you haven't, just explaining why you think you had a challenge with this or why this area was difficult, but making sure that you're as productive and your employer is seeing that. They're seeing that you really are delivering and you really are trying. And these are some tips that would help you if you have a proper schedule and a proper workspace setup. Video conferencing calls. These are, I put this slide for a little, lighten things up a bit. But it's critical. If you're going to be on a Zoom call, there's certain etiquette, I believe, is very important here. If you're using audio only, as you can see on this slide, the little dog looks very disheveled. But if you're going to be using video, then you get yourself looking all, nicely perked up. The point here is you never know when they're going to want to switch to video. The person hosting the meeting might say audio only, and within the next 15 minutes switch to video. You need to make sure you're presented properly and professionally, whether it's online or not. Setting goals and targets and timelines for that day's work. Health and safety in the workplace. It's a bit repetitive on what I opened with, but again, going back to Regulation 15 and Regulation 17 under the emergency powers, because this is critically important for how you function daily now in this new normal. Ensuring that sanitization stations are made available to staff and customers, staff lunchrooms and in restrooms. Washing hands for at least 20 seconds. Routine practice of disinfecting common areas and workspaces is key. Every 30 minutes is what we're recommending. Anyone exhibiting flu-like symptoms or feeling ill should be sent home. A mask is a must. Use non-physical greetings to avoid handshaking and maintaining your 6 feet and social distancing practices. Education and information dissemination to all employees. Set up a reliable system for smooth and steady flow of information throughout your workplace. Use a WhatsApp chat, group chat, or email to provide regular updates to your employees. Operating hours are changing regularly. Our curfews, change. So it's easy that way to then have constant communication with your team during this route, and also obviously to your clients via Facebook if you wish to put your operating hours up regularly. Establish protocols for sick employees. Advise them who they can contact if they will not be at work. And when I say that, I mean if your offices are closed and people are working and are displaced at different locations and you don't have an HR department and you're a very small business, you need to communicate to them who should they get in touch with or communicate that they won't be at work. Encourage your employees to rely on the news from all credible sources and do not share information that does not come from an official and credible source. Discourage your employees from sharing fake news, which will be the source of fear, anxiety, and panic, which is not needed at this time. Practice tuning into your trusted local radio station and TV broadcasts to keep up to date on or obviously, like today, the COVID-19 briefing, which is a daily update, provides key details and education in other areas. As you continue to navigate your business through this economic effects of COVID-19, the St. Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce encourages owners, managers, and supervisors to be mindful of their leadership role. Whilst we plan for change in our work environment, it is extremely important we remain compliant and do so with calm and order. Communication is key between all stakeholders, and we encourage collaboration among our membership and all government and the key government entities. We all need to play our part during this time to ensure ourselves, our families, and our businesses continue to be on full alert as we fight this. We continue to fight this pandemic. And I said that because Mr. Samuel reminded me of that yesterday, that while our numbers are encouraging, we are still fighting a pandemic. And I think that's really critical. We are not out of the woods. And so we have to be even more vigilant than ever to continue to keep our numbers flat, so that the sooner we are vigilant, and the more we are vigilant as we continue, the better it would be for all of us. So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, my board, and our members, we encourage everyone to continue to stay informed, be prepared, be smart, and be safe. I'd like to thank Mr. Samuel again, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, and Mr. Samuel leads the NEOC also, and his team, Seymour Laws, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson. Mr. Williams is not here today, but I always look forward to seeing him on the daily briefing, chairing. So I'd like to thank those who have been working with for the last several weeks for having us once again. And any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those as we go along. Thank you.